Hey guys, it's Dietitian Diana, and today I'm going to be wrapping up our training series with video number 3. And I'm really going to be talking about why a plant-based approach works so well for insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes and how to get started. Because I know it can be intimidating and it can be confusing as to where to start when eating more plant-based foods. So today I just want to give you a few tips to help get you started so that you can start dropping your glucose and you can start dropping your A1c. So let's get started. So I wanted to start off today's video by highlighting and showcasing one of the members in our group. Her name was Jenny, and she was part of our very first cohort. And she dropped her A1c from a 10% to a 6% by following our approach to reverse type 2 diabetes. It was absolutely phenomenal, her progress. And what she did was just follow our method, which works so well to reverse insulin resistance. So what is our approach and why does it work so well? So our approach works so well because it really focuses on 3 main aspects. The first one is a whole food plant-based diet. And we really encourage this way of eating because there's just so much evidence and scientific literature that shows this diet is the optimal diet for reversing type 2 diabetes. We also encourage an active lifestyle. So in our program and in our approach, we do encourage our participants to get active, even if that means just going for a walk after your meals. The important thing is to just get active and move your body. And that's really effective in reversing type 2 diabetes as well. And then lastly, we do emphasize stress control. So stress can increase glucose levels, and it is so important to really maintain your stress under control. And in our program and our approach, we do focus on ways to help you mitigate stress in your life. So today, I really just want to focus on the first approach, which is a plant-based diet. There are so many benefits to a plant-based diet. And this is not just benefits that Jose and I are making up. Like, these are benefits that have been proven over and over and over again in scientific studies published in peer-reviewed journals. So we encourage you to really focus on a plant-based diet because why? It's high in fiber, it's high in phytonutrients, it's low in fat, and it really focuses on helping you feel fuller sooner and longer too. A plant-based diet also has proven to lower the risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, cancer, colon diseases, heart diseases, and hypertension. So it goes way beyond type 2 diabetes. It helps to reverse a whole host and a whole list of other chronic illnesses as well. That is how powerful a plant-based diet is. And it's been really exciting to see members from our program reap these benefits. Like Jenny, for example, was able to drop her A1c down drastically by following a plant-based diet. It really does work, and it can work for you as well. So sometimes a whole food plant-based diet can be a little bit intimidating and confusing as to where to start. So I want to show you this awesome pyramid that Jose and I found. And people think that oftentimes whole food plant-based diets are very limiting because they have to remove so many foods, but I want you to start changing your mindset and really focus on how many different foods you can experiment and try. And so to kind of guide you with plant-based eating, think about this triangle, this pyramid. So at the bottom, we want fruits and vegetables to be the bulk of your diet. We want you to include vegetables in every meal. They should be making up the majority of your plate in every meal. Maybe not breakfast, but that's where you can get creative with fruit. And then next up, you want to include whole grains and legumes with your meals. That combination and that quantity of fiber is going to keep you so satisfied for such a long period of time. Both whole grains and legumes contain a lot of fiber and a ton of other nutrients. And including both of those items with every meal is going to really set you up for success so that you are feeling satiated. I don't want you to be hungry on a whole food plant-based diet. And that's one way to really prevent that from happening, by including both whole grains and legumes, and then of course, making the bulk of your plate veggies. And then lastly, we want you to include fats, but we want you to include unsaturated fats. So those are your healthier fats that come from plant plant-based foods. So things like nuts and seeds, avocado, olives, etc. So those, we want you to eat them, but just in smaller quantities because a little bit of fat goes a long way. Fat overall is high in calories because it is fat. So we don't need as much fat as we need other foods. So of course, we want you to include them. They are very nutritious and they can also help to keep you satiated. But just remember, a little bit goes a long way with fats. So now that you have the basis for plant-based eating, I want to walk you through some tips for making more plant-based choices. So if you are confused as to where to start with plant-based eating, hopefully some of these tips can work for you. So number one, start with familiar meals. So make dishes you're familiar with plant-based. So if you're a big burrito fan, for example, if you love to eat burritos, make a burrito, but make it plant-based. So if you're familiar with that food, just try to swap out the meat for beans in this example. So it's something that you're comfortable making, and all you need to do is make a few tweaks to the recipe to make it plant-based. Another example of a familiar meal could be swapping out a hamburger for a black bean burger. So hamburgers are very familiar meals, but instead of having that meat, you just swap out the patty for a black bean patty. And also just use ingredients you've tried before and again that you're familiar with. So if you have tried black beans, you know how to make black beans, use that to substitute meat in some of your recipes. So you could try Meatless Mondays. So Meatless Mondays was an initiative that started in the UK, I believe, and it was a way to encourage people to avoid eating meat for one day of the week, hence the name Meatless Mondays. So Meatless Mondays is so popular nowadays. So it's another way to try to eat more plant-based. You could take one day of the week, it doesn't have to be a Monday, and you could try going plant-based for that whole day. And little by little, as you get more comfortable with eating plant-based, you can extend that to other days as well. One issue I see a lot that comes up with people trying to transition to a more plant-based diet is that they say they don't feel full enough. And I completely understand that. And one of the reasons why that happens is because plant-based foods typically are just lower in calories. So you have to eat more food to get the same amount of calories as you were eating before. So as you can see in this example, it's a hamburger is around 500 calories. And to get those calories in plant-based foods, you have to eat a huge salad, some hummus with some veggies and an apple. So if you are feeling hungry on a plant-based diet, just eat more. That's the beauty of it. You get to eat more food. And I always encourage people to eat as many veggies as you want because veggies are only going to provide you those nutrients you need to have a efficiently working metabolism, to have a pancreas that secretes insulin effectively. So my recommendation is if you are feeling hungry on a plant-based diet, don't be afraid to just eat more food. Here's another tip because a lot of people, again, just don't know where to start with plant-based eating and just find recipes online. There are so many incredible food bloggers and health bloggers out there that provide free recipes online. So I encourage you to do a quick search online or to purchase a vegan or plant-based cookbook, look for blogs. Something you can do is search healthy plant-based recipes, healthy plant-based dinner, healthy plant-based breakfast, and you'll get tons of recipes. We also have our own 7-day meal plan. If you haven't already downloaded, there's a lot of recipes in there. The link to it is below, so I encourage you to grab that meal plan as well. And if you are interested in joining our program, you will get 7-day meal plans delivered weekly to your email inbox. That's part of one of the perks of joining our program is we supply you with tons of recipes and meal plans so that it takes the guessing out of what to eat every week. We supply you all the recipes needed, and I help design these recipes so that the macronutrients really are just perfect for reversing type 2 diabetes. From the feedback we've gotten from members, they really, really enjoy our recipes. So I just wanted to show you guys a few plant-based swaps that you could do in your meals too. Remember, if you are nervous about going 100% plant-based right away, then just take it back a few steps and try substituting a few items in your meals. So here are a few ones that we really like. You could try Meatless Mondays, which I had mentioned before. For breakfast, instead of having eggs, you could have smoothies or you could have oatmeal. Swap out your cow milk for non-dairy milk. It doesn't have to be almond milk. My favorite one is soy milk. For salads or for dinners, you can swap chicken for chickpeas. In sandwiches, try swapping out the cheese for avocado. I promise it tastes delicious. And also veggie burgers in place of meat patties. Lentils or mushrooms work very well for ground beef in recipes. You can swap out mayo for avocado, milk again for unsweetened almond milk, or any non-dairy milk for that matter. Just make sure it's unsweetened. Nutritional yeast is an excellent substitute for Parmesan cheese. So I highly recommend trying nutritional yeast if you haven't. If you are making a pasta dish, it works so well. It gives it a nice cheesy flavor. For baking, you can try a flax or chia egg. If you're not sure what that is, check it out on Google. And jackfruit is actually a great substitute for pulled pork. And if you search online, I promise you, you'll find some really great recipes to use it in place of pulled pork. Here are a few more ideas for you. So instead of doing beef chili, that's such a great way to just swap out the meat for some beans. Again, for breakfast, instead of eggs and toast with butter, try avocado toast and the tofu scramble. Instead of buffalo chicken wings, you could try buffalo cauliflower wings. I know cheese is hard for a lot of people to give up. So here are a few of our favorite ways to substitute cheese. So again, like I said, nutritional yeast is a great substitute for Parmesan. Silken tofu is really good in place of anything that calls for ricotta cheese. You can blend cashews and water together to make a delicious substitute for mozzarella cheese. And then non-dairy yogurt and lemon juice, you can make some really great recipes to substitute cream cheese. So if you are looking to make some plant-based cheese swaps, I encourage you to look up recipes because there really are so many online. When shifting over to a whole food plant-based diet, these are some of the old kitchen items that we want to start transitioning. And again, you don't have to do this all at once, but these are a few things that we do want to start eliminating or limiting in your diet. What will your new kitchen look like? A lot of people think that going whole food plant-based means they're going to be so limited in their food choices. But the reality is you're going to enter a whole new world of cooking and a whole new world of different foods that you've probably never tried before. And so it's going to be fun. It's going to be challenging at times. But the end results, you're going to feel so much better. You're going to see your glucose, your A1c levels drop. You're going to see your weight drop. You're going to see your cholesterol drop. The end result is going to be so powerful. So your new kitchen, so many great things to include. On the left, we have things that you can find in your pantry. So canned beans, you always want to have canned beans handy. Brown rice, quinoa, seal cut oats, bean pasta. So these are all great forms of whole grains. So these grains are minimally processed and they contain a lot of their nutrients, including fiber. You can also keep things like spices and seeds and marinara sauce and apple cider vinegar to give your foods lots of flavor without having to use a ton of sodium. In your fridge, keep lots of fruits and vegetables. You can keep your non-dairy milks, your hummus, your veggie broth for cooking. In the freezer, you can always stock up on fruits and vegetables. You can stock up on plant-based burgers. So you really are introduced to a whole new way of eating. And I promise you, there are way more options than you think. And it's not just about eating salads every day, I promise. So just to wrap up, remember, plant-based eating doesn't need to be super intimidating. If you're not ready to go 100% plant-based, you don't have to. But the important thing is to try to incorporate more plant-based foods into your diet. So try out some of those swaps I mentioned. Try some of those tips, starting with things that you're familiar with or trying maybe just one day of the week. So start slow. And little by little, you'll be able to work your way up to a more plant-based approach. And again, that approach is such a pillar and such an important factor for our overall program and our approach to reversing type 2 diabetes because it works. Not only is it proven time and time again in the literature, in the scientific studies, but we're seeing results from members in our program, like Jenny, like who I mentioned in the beginning. Her A1c dropped drastically, her glucose dropped. So it does work. So I highly encourage you to try it out. And if you need guidance, if you need extra guidance and you want those weekly meal plans and you want to be able to talk to Fulsa and I when you have questions, then I encourage you to join our program.